Hello, I'm the Reverend Neil Clark. I'm the assistant priest in the benefice of St Giles and Desborough with Braybrook, Brampton Ash and Dingley. We've been going through a series of sermons thinking about generosity, how God is generous to us and how we show gratitude for that, and how we can be generous to other people, showing kindness, showing love and concern. At the moment, being generous with money is not altogether easy. We've seen the mortgages going up and up and up, and young people are really struggling with that. And the cost of food and the cost of fuel is going up dramatically, and inflation is at all times high. So I can understand that people are struggling. What's difficult to understand at one level, though, is that we're the sixth richest nation in the world. And here we are, the sixth richest nation in the world, with food banks springing up all over the place, more people using them than ever before, and the food banks are running out of food to give away because the demand is so great. And a statistic we heard recently was that every week, 1 in 20 adults runs out of food before the end of the week. Now that's a terrible situation for anybody to be in. And a lot of families are prioritising giving food to their children rather than eat themselves. But we should never get there. So what can we do to help other people? Well, we can try giving things to food banks. I know money's short, but in the Bible there's a story that Jesus tells about giving at the temple. One man was going into the temple and he gave a rather large donation, many smiles all round. But he was a very rich man and he could afford to do it. The next person who went in gave a very small coin, but it was all the spare that she had in the world. It's the story of the widow's mite. And Jesus was saying that her giving was more generous than those who give from their wealth. So what we've got to do is look at our own finances and say, is there anything at all that we can just squeeze out? And it doesn't have to be a large amount. It can just be a small donation, and that will be wonderful. Because we've got to care for those in our community. And there may be some luxuries we can cut back on. We all say that we're cutting to the bone, but there's usually something that's about there. So what we're asking is for people to think, can we do a little bit more? But what we don't want you to do is to struggle and not eat yourself. That's the last thing in the world anybody would want. So if you're one of the people who are using the food banks, or you're one of the people who are the 1 in 20 who run out of food, then you won't be able to give. But there's the 19 out of 20 that have got to look at what's going on and think, can I just spare a tin of food for the food bank? Hopefully this won't go on forever and we'll get to a time when we redress the balance. But we have a lot of millionaires in this country, even billionaires. And we have a lot of people who can't find food and money for it. Perhaps we need to balance things out a bit more. And by a small donation, we begin that balancing exercise. So don't feel oppressed by requests. But if you feel moved and you've got a little bit to spare, perhaps you can be generous, like the widow's mite. It doesn't seem to change anything, but every gift is a wonder for those who are hungry. Amen.